Hello, my little Liebfrau Milches, and welcome to another Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Joining me as of the moment, Brian and Rox and Tony the Calf. None of them are running videos, so that's so that you can only look at me. And I know it's disturbing, but look, I've been doing it my whole life, and it hasn't done anything at all to me.
I'm not running video because I've got a cat playing Jungle Gym on my neck right now. So,
all right, well, that sounds like fun. Normally we'd be talking about the Cleveland Browns football game, but we already did that. So, but there's a lot that has happened around the league that is. Hello, Gemini 605. There's going to be a lot that goes on around the league.
It's so funny, Brian.
Oh, Rick's comment.
Yeah, I did this on purpose just to do this to you, Brian, so that you can become the guru. You can become Rick's computer guru. I abdicated.
Gee, thanks. I love my demotion.
Hey, Mark Ross, how you doing? I used to enjoy my broadcast a hell of a lot more, but and then I don't know, losing year after year after year after year, my goodness, it just gets old. Hello, Mogabi, watching via Twitch. As you know, there are three ways
eventually,
to watch.
so do we.
Yeah, I know. Facebook and YouTube and Twitch all showing this program. If you can find it, you can watch it. That's just kind of the way it goes. I'm entitling this show Injuries, the Great Equalizer, because around the league, an incredible number of injuries, and not just guys who you don't know, but I mean big names. And, we'll start just with a few of those names. The Broncos are just having a rough go of it. Courtland Sutton, their wide receiver, out for the season with an ACL. Their starting quarterback, Drew Lock, out 3 to 5 weeks with a shoulder injury. This has not been a very good year. And to be very honest with you, John Elway would not know a good quarterback from his hind end. Honestly, I'm not sold on Drew Lock. And, the bottom line is the Steelers really had not an easy time when all is said and done in defeating the Broncos, who were without like everybody. And a 26-21 Pittsburgh win is hardly something that you want to be jumping up and down about, with the exception of a last second when time was run out and they said, Uncle, the Broncos were like, Uncle, and Connor ran up, ripped off like a 65 or 70 yard run. They couldn't run the football. The Steelers looked bad running the football, and Ben was back there throwing every time. So I was not impressed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm not going to tell you that they're not better than the Cleveland Browns, but what I am going to tell you is they're nowhere near as good as the Baltimore Ravens. So for all those Pittsburgh fans, and ever so often a Pittsburgh fan will rear their ugly nose-picking face in the comment section after the show, you get to play the Ravens twice. We've already played them once. You already know what happened. We'll see what happens when old Ben goes out there against somebody who can really put a rush and put a hurt on him. I don't think that he's the same guy. I think he can still complete passes when he's got time, but if he does not have a running game, they're fucked, like in a big kind of way. Drew Lock, meanwhile, a strain of the rotator cuff in his throwing shoulder. And this is a problem because mechanically, even if he tries to rush back quickly, it could throw him off mechanically, and there could be other injuries like elbow injuries and part of his throwing motion. Vic Fangio, the permanent fixture of losing in
all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, weird shit. It's, it reminds me a lot of the Kevin Durant thing when he hurt his, calf. He tore his calf, and the next thing you know, bang, his ACL's gone. Vic Fangio, the king of losing, or the king of wishful thinking, he's going to be. He says that Drew Lock.
That's your Go West reference. For
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
He'll get over you. You know he will. He'll pretend his ship's not sinking.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Vic Fangio said, "I'll pretend my ship's not sinking." Right? 3 to 5 weeks. He says that Drew's going to be out there or out of there. Meanwhile, Locke and Sutton, includes now the list of Von Miller, who had ankle surgery, and running back Philip Lindsay, his toe. Miller could miss the remainder of the season, while Lindsay is expected to be sidelined for multiple weeks. So, that's just more bad news for an organization that just can't seem to get out of its own way. Talking of, then there's the New York Giants. Now, this is going to be a part of the program where people are going to ask questions like, why is Mr. Moohead saying this? All right, we know that the MRI confirmed that Saquon Barkley's gone with a torn ACL. He had no problems of such in college. He had no injury problems. But boy, the last 2 years after that prolific rookie year, not so good. In fact, it's beginning to look like a real wasted pick because they're not getting the value out of this guy. And the team needs the running game because Daniel Jones ain't a man. He's a small mouse. I mean, they're not going to be able to handle this through the air. And to tell you how bad it is, even Odell Beckham Jr. saying, I'm so happy because I'm happy. I'm not playing for New York. Yeah, they suck. Meanwhile, Barkley underwent the MRI at the hospital for special surgery in Manhattan the day after he was injured. In that thrilling 17-13 loss to the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are 2-0. And why are people still not feeling real good about Mitch Trubisky? No, I think that speaks for itself. But what I'm going to say about Barkley is what I have said before about other athletes. It isn't hard to come into the league with amazing athletic gifts. The question in a game like football is how long you're going to last doing it. And we always talked about, for old fans like me, Gale Sayers, the style of running of Gale Sayers versus a Jim Brown. The guys who are the amazing cut on a dime kinds of guys, generally, when they hurt themselves this way, they lose the hop, the step, the jump, and the burst a little bit, and that little bit makes them merely average, or like any other running back, not the number, 1 overall pick in a draft. So, or number 2 pick.
Todd Gurley went through this at Georgia, and so did Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I mean, this is not, but it's not a slam dunk. And these types of athletes that are really thoroughbreds, they tend to get hurt. And what I want to...
Greg Pruitt, when he went to the goddamn Raiders.
Yes.
He blew out his knees, and I remember the look on his face as they're carrying him off. Players were carrying him off the fucking field.
It was a death sentence back then. When that happened, it was done. Now they've gotten better, but he will come back from this. But it is a long and hard go of it, and it's the second successive year that Saquon Barkley has had an injury that has just truncated his season. What I want to say about this is the Giants, it's just an organization plagued by difficulties. But I'm looking around the league and saying, the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson is one step away. He is a quarterback who is a lot like Saquon Barkley as a running back. And I'm not wishing anything because the Ravens are by far the best team in the division. I will give them that. They're the best team in the conference. I'll give them that even. I think they're one of the 2 best teams, if not the best team in football. I'll give them that. I'll give Lamar Jackson kudos. He throws the ball accurately. He's amazingly athletic. But, when you fake the handoff into the line and instead of just doing basic, play action stuff, you start sweeping around the end, you're making those quick cuts. He doesn't even have to get hit. He didn't even have to get hit. I've seen it before where a guy's knee just goes bye-bye, just wipes out after cutting so many times. And what comes naturally before the injury does not come so naturally after the injury. The point of this show today is to express how some of these injuries could potentially benefit the Cleveland Browns. I don't wish injuries on anyone, and the Browns have had more than their fair share already, and they always seem to hit in the positions you can least afford to get hit in. But if it can happen to Saquon Barkley, it can happen to anybody, and it can happen to Lamar Jackson. And if it happens to Lamar Jackson, whatever they got backing him up is not capable of doing what he does. Okay? Plain and simple. He opens up an offense. And I mean, the running back options they have there are remarkable. But a lot of it is not just the offensive line. It's just the deception of it all. And he can hurt you throwing the ball. He can hurt you with his legs. And, then they got, the three-headed monster, as far as their running back by committee, and they're spreading the ball around. They're still going to have all their running backs, but without a quarterback in that scheme who can do the things that Lamar Jackson can do, they can force somebody into throwing the ball more. And then the Ravens will become less multidimensional. But at any rate, when I saw this happen, I just shook my head because the Giants, Sterling Shepard, their wide receiver, he ended up with turf toe. He's going to miss time because turf toe is one of those things you got to shut it down and rest it. You try to keep coming back too soon from turf toe, and you're going to be missing out most of the season. It's going to take a couple of weeks for that bad boy to go away.
And ask Deion Sanders, it never really goes away. His foot is still fucked up from it.
Yeah, it's a nasty injury. Now, former Atlanta Falcons running back Devontae Freeman is set to visit the Giants, according to sources, and wanting to get back into football, if you want to call it that, in the Meadowlands. I really, honestly don't.
He's got some child support payments to make.
I mean, right now, to tell you how bad the Giants are, they're down to Deion Lewis and Wayne Gallman as their two running backs, and that's just not good. If you saw the video on it, Barkley was just heading toward the sideline, was tackled. He just grabbed at his knee. The thing is that these guys who cut that much, it's just like Gale Sayers. The knee isn't meant to go at such high speeds in opposite force directions. And I honestly believe that it's going to happen to Lamar Jackson. And I don't want it to happen because he's such a marvelous talent. But sometimes just the sheer physical capacity of an athlete leads them to something that is not so great. Then Christian McCaffrey is out 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. The high ankle sprains are really nasty. Are we getting a request from somebody wanting to come in here? Here we go.
These fucking things again.
I just get such a kick out of it. He doesn't even know what I can give him the studio. All right. M never saw 6. May I join in? Yeah, let's let it. Here it is. Here's your link, guy. Now, if you want to click in, you can click in, and we'll give you your shot at stardom. Yeah, exactly. But Christian McCaffrey is such an important cog in a Panthers team, but a high ankle sprain for a running back is not good because that's another one of those injuries that is a lingering injury, They lost to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks 31-17. It's not like things are going well for the Panthers as is. McCaffrey's only 24. It's nothing that threatens his career, but it really screws a season over if a guy misses 5 to 6 weeks with this damn thing. That's 6, games. You're already halfway through the season, really, and not getting much of anything from the guy who was a total yards leader just a year ago.
Well, there goes 20 points on my fantasy football team.
Yeah, well, nobody can predict this stuff. I mean, while we're talking about benefiting the Browns, Brandon Scherf I have to say the Washington football team, that's who we play next. He's their guard, and
I just call him Washington.
Yeah, that's a better thing. We'll call him Washington.
I still call him the Foreskins.
Yeah, that's probably not bad either. In the absence, he was a 2015 number 5 pick, and he was forced from the game against your Cardinals, Brian, with a knee injury and didn't return. The news on Scherf is not as bad as it could be, but he's going to miss several games, which is not good news to Dwayne Haskins, who was sacked 4 times and knocked to the ground 4 more in a 30-15 loss, in which, to tell you the truth, with the exception of a late touchdown, Washington really did not look good. And I swear, the play that your quarterback over there in Arizona,
Kyler Murray,
he just made them look like they were standing still. My God.
Yeah, he really is like trying to tackle a roadrunner.
No, I mean, they were just standing around looking at him. And Scherf is known as one of the best guards in football, and this is not something they can afford to lose. They franchise tagged him for this season, but they did not come to an agreement on a long-term deal before the deadline. So if this injury, it's not serious, they're saying, but if it were, it could have left Washington in a horrible position. A second franchise tag would have cost more than $18 million for an interior lineman, which is just not what you want to be doing. But, to go through the league, it is really scary. And people are going to ask the questions, and invariably, it was at the lack of a preseason. And Brian, so I'm not going to get on this, soapbox. The truth of the matter is, with preseason, it happens. You know what I mean? And it is the lay of the land.
It does, but by the same token, you have a greater pool for your reserves because you're able to scout the other teams.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Bosa gone for the 49ers, and they're talking torn ACL there too. I mean, it doesn't matter who they have. They beat the Jets 31-13. How come I'm not hearing from the people who said that Sam Darnold was a better long-term prospect than Baker Mayfield? Why am I not hearing from those people? I told you the guy has water on the brain. The Jets are just plunging into Bolivian. Well,
you say water on the brain. I say Mr. Stay Puffed.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a big fucking marshmallow in my book.
Well, to me, it's a combination of things. It's a combination of a bad organization and a quarterback who just, I never thought that highly of him. I mean, I'm looking at a guy like Joe Burrow, and I see so much more in Joe Burrow than I ever saw. A lot of these young quarterbacks, I'm not all that thrilled with. Like I said, Drew Lock, I've not been, impressed with it at all. But at any rate, so Bosa's gone. They also lost their 2017 number 3 pick, the 49ers, Solomon Thomas, and that's a knee injury as well. DeForest Buckner, they traded him to Indianapolis. Dee Ford missed week 2 with a neck injury. I mean, you're really looking at a weak front line. I mean, if all of these guys, Bosa, Ford, and Thomas, are all out for week 3, their front line their defensive line is going to be Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Kentavious Street, DJ Jones, and Kerry Hyder. I mean,
And when do they play Seattle?
I don't know.
That's got to be coming up. So they're going to have a piecemeal defensive front against a really damn tough team.
And there are still players who are just floating around the league. The 49ers were talking to Ezekiel Ansah, formerly of the Lions, but boy, how old he is, God only knows. Going to more names, we've already named the big names first, but Jimmy Garoppolo comes next. I mean, they say that he's going to be able to play through his injury, which is also a dreaded high ankle sprain. The only thing that you really have to worry about there is that, he's going to be taped up. We've seen this before with Browns quarterbacks who were prone to high ankle sprains. And it's going to destroy mobility so that he's going to have to get really fantastic protection. And to be honest with you, if you're screwing around with your mechanics with your legs, that can screw your arm up. So Garoppolo is going to play because he has to. The team is in trouble. It is a mixed bag injury for a quarterback. Putting it in perspective, Roethlisberger, when he in 2011 lost to the 49ers after his high ankle sprain, and he wasn't right the rest of that season, whereas Peyton Manning went on to win the league MVP in the season that he had the high ankle sprain. And Daniel Jones missed several games last season with the high ankle sprain. So it's a wide and varied lot. Keep your eyes on Jimmy Garoppolo. San Francisco may be going down the shitter this year because they're just getting hit. Too many big players, important people. Devontae Adams has a hamstring soft tissue injury. They're not sure how significant it was earlier today. That he's the Packers. The one that's going to affect the Browns to some degree is Tavon Young for the Ravens. He's going to be gone for the season. Harbaugh suggested that his cornerback had suffered the dreaded ACL, and he missed all of last year with a neck injury. This is a guy who has no more guaranteed money coming his way. Baltimore could end up having to cut him, and it's a shame because this guy was really, at 26 years of age, he was their slot protector and very good at it. He's recovered from the neck thing. Now he's got the knee injury, and it looks bad. The Ravens, though, amazingly have depth. All right. Jimmy Smith, you remember him from years ago, the veteran corner. He's the fourth corner. All right. He didn't play week one with back spasms. He could potentially become the third cornerback. Marlon Humphrey can help cover the slot. He's capable of playing both inside and outside. And Anthony Averett.
And if he can't, he'll just hold everybody all over the field.
Well, and I wanted to say something about that, too, because, watching the Ravens play the Texans, and I know that somewhere out there, Steven is having a massive eating problem because of what happened to his team.
Eating and drinking problem.
Yeah. You try playing the Ravens, man. It's not easy. But to sucker punch the other team is a problem. And obviously, there's some problems of internal strife within the team. But I want to point out that everybody at some point throws a punch at the goddamn Ravens, and I'm getting really sick of this shit. To me, it's the Steelers and the goddamn Ravens, and the Ravens do these things, and the officials don't react to it, and they get the guy who is responding and retaliating. And to me, there's no doubt in my mind that they drew a rookie out there and they got him to lose his head. And J.J. Watt is all over the kid saying that was a selfish thing to do and this and that. But the fact of the matter is they just continue to allow this shit to happen. And I've seen it when we play the Ravens every single year, twice a year. And they're constantly after the play when people aren't looking, pulling at things, doing things, pulling a face mask when nobody's looking. I mean, I've seen it over the course of multiple years. It's not a mistake, and who they target is not a mistake. and they targeted a rookie. But by then it was already 30-16, and I don't think it would have affected the outcome of the game, which surprises me why J.J. Watt is being so verbal about this rather than pulling the guy to the side. But I think there's frustration over the fact that the Texans realize that their fortunes are going down. Even though Deshaun Watson is a good quarterback, the team has let go too many offensive options, and they don't look good. I don't, and it's interesting, little Ty, hate. No, I hate the Steelers, but the Ravens, the Ravens are troublemakers, but they're also talented troublemakers. So I can't hate an organization that drafts as well as they do and is run as well as they are. The Steelers, on the other hand, I can hate because the Rooneys are a bunch of cocksuckers. I know that from my experiences from the old man when he owned the team and how tight he and Modell were. I think that, naming that the Rooney Rule is just, to me, was the biggest joke of all. And I don't like the Steelers because of the way they comport themselves on the field. I don't like their head coach because I think he's the one who tells them to do those things. And I'm still looking for payback. And I don't care whether it's Mason Rudolph or Ben Roethlisberger. I don't care. I want their fucking quarterback out of there. I want him hurt. I'm dead serious. And I'm as serious as I was last year. I will not rest comfortably until we maim and injure their goddamn quarterback and let them go through season. Let it be Ben's last year when he goes down on a late hit, grabbing his fucking knee, and it's over for him. I'm sick of us being the whipping boy. Let's let them get on with life. Life hasn't been so good for the Steelers without Ben Roethlisberger. They haven't shown any capacity to do anything except to get Mason Rudolphs and quack, duck fucking Devlins. I hate the organization because they're really not that well run. They're good at picking linebackers, they're good defensively. They wouldn't know a good quarterback if it bit them in the ass. They had a long-term guy. And now the long-term guy might be one hit away from just calling it quits. And they got nothing to back him up. Nothing at all. And it's like, oh, they always have a great running game. They don't have a good running game now. The fucking Steelers, I don't even know who in the fuck's running the ball for them anymore. Connor's the only one I can, and they're not good. And the first 2 weeks of the season, they haven't looked good. And if they can't run the football, that injury will happen to Big Ben. And I'm hoping it's us. That does it to him. We were all hoping for a Pittsburgh quarterback injury. Yeah. And, he's really close to the edge, of course, Tony, a lot of fans hate the Ravens because of Art Modell.
Yeah.
But I got nothing against the city. I got nothing against the city of Baltimore. They took what they could get. They're no different than Indianapolis. They took another city's team and they gave the tax advantage because they wanted football in their town. That's wonderful. The fans should be happy. And everyone knows Ravens fans I have no problem with. And for the most part, Pittsburgh fans, I love to discuss football with them. But as an organization, I have no respect for Mike Tomlin because of what he does. And I have no respect for the past of the organization from Jack Lambert all the way up to James Harrison. I just don't have any respect for it. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So, that's just it. If you don't have the quarterback, all the complementary pieces in the world don't mean a whole hell of a lot if nobody can see the field. And that is a real possibility. And you're right, Keyblade, they do. They make people blow their cool, and that's what they're taught to do. And Ravens fans, we have a great one here, D-Bag, who's a good guy. And again, if a team's better, a team's better. I got no problem acknowledging that. All of these injuries, and there's so many more of them. Malik Hooker, the safety from the Indianapolis Colts, that's the Achilles. Bye-bye. Byron Jones, the cornerback from the Dolphins, that's a groin. 49ers again, Raheem Mostert, and that is a sprained MCL, and it could have been a tear. They were thinking it was a complete tear. It's a sprain, but a sprained MCL is 4 to 6 weeks. Goddamn 49ers, unreal.
Yeah, I only heard the preliminary that said it was a tear. So, Rick, you missed him.
And before I move on to the Browns specifically here, Tyrod Taylor never played in yesterday's game because he had
the
a
story about that is weird.
Really strange. A chest injury reported after warmups, and that he would end up going to the hospital.
I'll tell you, I think Chargers fans are pretty happy it happened because, boy, that Justin Herbert looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah, and really, that's the way I felt about it too. I mean, I watched the game. He did as much as anyone could possibly do, and to be very honest with you, he looked a lot better than Joe Burrow. And I don't know what it is, the fascination with the top picks. I think that they put them in a glowing light, and then once they're done in the glowing light and they come to earth, then the next thing that happens is they bite their heads off. The press turns on them. Herbert, or they didn't win the game. A 23-20 loss is as close to a moral victory.
I'm going to a bat.
They should have had a shot, though. That coach fucking stepped on his dick in overtime. I don't know what the hell you're doing on a 4th and 1, punting to $500,000 quarterback and the defending champions. Saying, okay, just get 3.
Look, the Chargers have found more ways of losing. And last year, they lost 5 games in the final 30 seconds of the game. And that coach is going to lose his job just as sure as I'm sitting here because, when the reputation comes down to decisions being made and you're losing close games because of those decisions, they had a miracle, in their first week that they won. And now this Herbert, people are going to get some tape on him, going to get film on him. It's not going to be easy. But for him in his pro debut to come out and throw for more than 300 yards against Kansas City, he showed a lot of poise. And, I think that speaks well. And now the spotlight will be on him, because they were not going to start him. There was no immediate plan, but we were talking about Tyrod Taylor in the last show. He's just not a guy who's going to put up points for you. And 20 points is still not enough to beat the Chiefs, but it damn near was. It damn near was yesterday. And, and they ran a great drive. They were running the football. I do have questions about why they threw on the last drive when they had an opportunity to do something. It was, I want to say, a first down. They were moving the chains, and they did a deep drop back, and it just put them behind the 8 ball. You can't put a young quarterback into a 2nd, 3rd, and long. You just can't do it. And they should have really utilized more of the running game if they could. The Chiefs, I mean, this is as close to Mahomes having a bad game, I guess, is, what you can say about it. But, I'm, sure that Tyrod Taylor is going to be eclipsed. And what would we say? I should ask Rick in the chat room. Who is the name of the guy who gets his chance off the bench? His name was Lou Gehrig, and who was the poor son of a bitch who had a questionable injury and took the time off and never got to play again? Do we remember his name now?
Oh, God.
Rick will know. Rick will know. But
Rick was there.
Yeah, Wally Pip, Bronx, right? Wally Pip.
Wally Pip. That's right. I mean, he's going to get Wally pipped. You come up with a chest injury before the game even begins and you report it late. It's not going to go over, So I don't know. It's it's true. There was no pressure on us, was there, Doggy Bone? So the one thing that I can say about all of this is that the Browns are 1-1 and part of the great middle of the NFL, which is the vast middle ground. There's the horrible, there's the fantastic, and then there's everybody in between. We'll see how it sorts out week by week. The Browns, Mac Wilson, Greedy Williams, and Kevin Johnson all returned to practice today. So that's good news on the Browns front. Really, whether we can expect much from Mac Wilson at this point, not 100% sure, but it would sure be nice to get something out of him, to get Taki off the fucking fieldy, because he is screwing up. Greedy Williams, how long he'll stay on the field, we really don't know. But at least the Browns are starting to get a little bit healthier. Kevin Stefanski talked about this, on Mac Wilson returning to practice. Seeing him out there was really outstanding. He brings energy. I'm excited to have him back out there. But he was not willing to commit to how much or if Mac Wilson was going to be out there. It could be a muscle injury. It could be a bone injury. You have to really work with medical staff. This is what Stefanski said. And then, like always, you have to protect players from themselves. He also spoke glowingly of Porter Gustin, who is what we thought he was, a guy who's just an everyday grunt. He goes, with Porter, you're going to get an honest day's work, and the effort is there from the whistle snap to whistle. And that is, and you can tell by the way he approaches it. He's just a hardworking guy. He's coached up. He doesn't vacate his gap. He doesn't, he's playing the game the way it was meant to be played. He may not be the most athletic talent out there, but I've seen this before. Guys like this, they can help because they have a role on the team. Are they taking extra precautions with Kevin Johnson? Stefanski was just saying we listen to the doctors. That's all we can do with this. But he is going to be an important player in the nickel position if he can play, because God only knows the Browns, when we're being forced and when teams are running spread offenses and forcing the Browns into press coverage on the outsides, and really we're being forced to play nickel schemes. We just don't, we got fucking Sendejo out there, for God's sakes, as a safety. They're still not sure about Greedy Williams' health, because all the coach would say is basically, we'll work through this as his health becomes apparent to us. So I don't think anybody wants to commit anything to Greedy Williams at this point, because he's made of paper mache. That's what it kind of looks like to me, and to a lot of people around the league. Now they're saying that you're not going to see Rashard Higgins very much at all. And I don't mean this week, I mean in the future. Kaderil Hodge, this is what
your favorite receiver said in the entire universe.
Yeah. He goes, I wouldn't say the Kaderil snaps are based on blocking. I think the passing coach and game coordinator, Chad O'Shea, does an outstanding job coaching that room about blocking. But he likes the pre-snap motion, and he feels that the length of Kaderil Hodge is of value. Even though, it's all part of the offensive scheme. And if this is the guy who fits the scheme, so be it. Rashard Higgins is going to be a thing of the past. And again, Stefanski said he was scouting, watching the Redskins, the Washington football team. and then this. They asked him about why Baker Mayfield's record is better when he throws under 30 passes. Ask Ben Roethlisberger the same question. You know, it isn't how many times you throw the ball, it's what plays you're able to run. Realistically, it's more about making plays when they're on the field and not making mistakes. And I think any NFL quarterback would be far better off with a big running game. I mean, nobody wants to go out there and throw 50, 60 times. And you can see with Joe Burrow how long he'll last if that continues to be the case. But again, you're still going to have a gunslinger out there. The fact is that Baker Mayfield is going to go downfield. He's going to throw the ball. And he's going to try to make a big play, and he's going to make some mistakes as a direct result of it. You know, and, you know, it's I'm hoping that we can continue doing that. But when we're playing teams like the Steelers, like the Ravens, real physical football teams up front and their linebacker core, it's going to sometimes force Baker to step up and win football games because our running game may not be able to get it done. And that's where you got to click. You got to get more familiar with your wide receivers, and you got to be able to click. And that's that. And Tim Couch, no, I'm not going to wish that on Joe Burrow. Nobody wants it. Now, if he starts sobbing incoherently after, you know, having a concussion, then I'll be with you on that. So. That's what Stefanski had to say. Mac Wilson, in coming back, said he felt the knee injury was karma. He was afraid he'd lost his whole season because of what he did to Nick Chubb. I'm not going to argue with him. It was one of the most stupid fucking things I've ever seen in my life. Really dumb. Around the league, I mean, this is what I mean by the vast middle. The Bears are 2-0, but they're not very good. The Falcons are 0-2, and their coach has to be fired, Tony.
Yeah. That's insane how you blow the 28 or no, it wasn't 28-3. That was the Super Bowl I'm thinking of.
They were up 29-10 at half.
Yeah.
All right. And you know, got outscored 30-10 in the second half of the game.
Did you see the onside kick?
That's what I mean. I mean, like, first of all,
that's coaching. That's fucking coaching.
Well, the way the head coach will save his ass for now is he's going to fire the special teams coach, right? Yeah. I mean, nobody wanted to touch that ball. I mean, if I were a fan of the Falcons, I would just be livid because nobody wanted to be the one to try. You got a bunch of losers who were fearful. I mean, the ball just trickled, and they just stood there and watched it go the 10 yards. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least if you jump on the ball, if you don't recover
take
it,
the 5-yard fucking penalty, you know, shit.
Or if you can't hold on to it, you at least went for it. You know, my goodness, to sit there and watch that go by is just pointless. And the Dallas Cowboys, it's a big win for them, but they're 1-1. The Falcons are 0-2. It's all part of the vast middle, folks. The Lions are 0-2. Nothing new there. Matthew Stafford just goes on losing. The Packers are 2-0 and are a surprise after the first week victory. And
85 points in 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, and people were wondering about Aaron Rodgers, and now, you know, how good the Packers actually are. I don't think they're elite, but right now they're getting it done. The Jaguars, you know, the Minshew show. You know, they put up 30 points and lost to the Titans. They came back. They did almost what they had to do. But Minshew did throw 2 interceptions to go with his 3 touchdowns. So Gardner Minshew is the one who ESPN is now touting as being better than Baker Mayfield. I'm just going to shut up and watch it happen. The Titans are 2-0. The Jaguars are 1-1. And I wouldn't even say the Jaguars are in the middle. Right now, their quarterback is keeping them afloat. Then there's the 0-2 Vikings, Tony. Take it away.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. We're in trouble. We're in absolute trouble. Cousins is nothing like he has been. Our offensive line, they didn't do anything again to improve it. They drafted a guy in the second round and refused to play him. We just lost Anthony Barr, our number one defensive linebacker, to not an ACL, shoulder injury for the season. We're in deep shit. Deep shit.
The Colts should not be beating you 28-11.
No. And the sad part, our schedule, we have host the Titans, at the Texans, at the Seahawks. We're going to be 0-5. And they're learning quick that they got rid of, Xavier Rhodes, Mackenzie Alexander, Trey Waynes, Stephon Diggs. They're learning that
Diggs loss is the most crucial.
They're learning. They're learning a big game.
Yeah, they're learning, and Linval Joseph. They're learning that you can't just replace all. You just get rid of all these guys and come back and think it's going to be the same.
I mean, Phillip Rivers had a typical Phillip Rivers day.
Yeah.
19 of 25 for 214 yards. The guy's not going to astound you. He's going to kind of pick you apart bit by bit.
They got that really good running back, James Taylor, something like that, who's a rookie that stepped in for Marlon Mack and like 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor. There we go.
From Wisconsin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Colts are 1-1, and the Bills defeated the Dolphins, and the Bills are 2-0. The Dolphins are 0-2, but a 31-28 score certainly wasn't an easy situation. Huge game, 417 yards for Josh Allen. That's just a massive game with 4 touchdowns. Huge. And Stephon Diggs for Buffalo, 8 receptions for 153 yards. It's just it hurts. But the Dolphins at 0-2 are not, that far off of the Bills who are 2-0. This is all middle stuff, either the better middle or the lower middle. The 49ers beat the Jets, and the Jets are the dregs, okay? This coming from Rich Simony of the ESPN staff writer. Why didn't Sam Darnold call a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1 play that failed? I don't know if you saw this, but there was a huge center left guard gap. And all that Darnold would have had to have done is taken the snap and just walked through it. All right. So why didn't he call the quarterback sneak?
Because that's not what came in from the sideline.
Not allowed per Adam Gase. Why not? That's my call, Gase said. See, I would fire the head coach. I just get rid of him. Get rid of him now. That's Eric Mangini shit. That's not a defense. That's Hugh Jackson shit. I can make all the lousy decisions I want, That's horse shit. Gase said that audibles are built into certain plays, but not that one. And Darnold's response, Adam said it best, I don't have the option to do that. We were worried about executing the play. If we execute the play call, we have a first down, no one would be talking about it. But, you have that tape. How is Sam Darnold ever going to develop as a quarterback if he doesn't get an opportunity at some point in his life to be able to make a decision on the field? And obviously the coach has no faith in him. And the bottom line is that Adam Gase is defending his own turf. When you answer, that's my call, that's territorial crap, and there's no room for that. But again, the Jets are 0-2 and are at the very bottom of things. The 49ers are 1-1, but with all the injuries, they may not be elite. The Rams are 2-0, the big win over the Eagles, who are going downhill faster than you can imagine. And who is Carson Wentz? This is a guy who is supposed to be the second coming, right? He was going to be the Big Ben guy, right?
Yeah.
26 of 43 with 2 picks, a 56 rating, a 37.9 QBR. This isn't good. And Carson Wentz hasn't looked like the rookie Carson Wentz for some time. He's thrown 2 touchdowns this year and 4 interceptions. His overall QBR is a 27.9 this year. That just doesn't get it. So, again, winless, 0-2. And the Eagles look like they're heading south. The Broncos are 0-2 because Fangio is a loser. And the Steelers are 2-0, but not nearly as good as the Ravens. And the Steelers will be there when all is said and done until Big Ben grabs his knee and it's over for him. But the Broncos, I'm not sold on that whole thing either. I don't think Elway knows what he's doing. I really don't. I think they have to replace him. The Buccaneers pulled out of a hole. The Panthers are 0-2, but the Panthers aren't very good. And Brady, Brady was efficient because he got help. When he doesn't get help, forget about it. It doesn't work. Brady was 23 of 35 for 217 yards. It's not, outstanding stuff, an 80.3 quarterback rating, but he got 103 yards from Leonard Fournette. You see, that's what he did get. Fournette averaged 8.6 yards a carry. So, and meanwhile, Teddy Bridgewater was forced to throw 42 times, and Christian McCaffrey ran the ball 18 times, and then he was gone, and they have nobody to replace the guy. So another example of team going in the wrong direction. Tampa Bay, they're in part of the vast middle. I don't think they're a team that's going to win big. I think that they're going to be hanging in there. But I don't have that much great to say about them either. So then you have Washington, who's 1-1, and I think they're not a very good team. And to me, Dwayne Haskins is a guy who turnover machine. He can make a big play if you give him time. If the Browns can put pressure on him, he'll make mistakes. He'll throw the ball up for grabs. We know that. And if they gave up 30 points to the Cardinals, who are 2-0 right now, I say that the Washington football team is not one of the better football teams in the NFL. The Chargers are 1-1 and have no business being 1-1. They should be 0-2. Lynn is their head coach, right? I don't see it. I don't see it. The Ravens are 2-0 and are elite. The Texans are 0-2, and the bottom line is that you know how it works. You go through the first 4 games of the season, and if you don't have a winning record by then, you ain't making the playoffs. The Texans are off to a tough start. So that's that. And then, you have the Patriots losing 35-30, and Belichick can't be happy. They got lit up, man. Russell Wilson just lit them up. Cam Newton played fine. Cam Newton was 30 of 44. He did what he was supposed to do. He did have 1 pick, but he had a 94 quarterback, a rating. That's not bad. He also ran for 47 yards. He's just not getting any running help. He's forced to throw the ball. I mean, he threw it 44 times and ran it 11 times. Do you realize that's 55 of his team's offensive possessions? That it was Cam Newton, and Cam Newton. And whether he can hold up physically, God only knows. But the Patriots are 1-1. And Seattle is off to a good start. So, and again, dangerous. Seattle's always a dangerous football team, especially if Russell Wilson has his confidence back and, is getting help, from the running game. He needs all the help that he can get, so it's not all thrown on his shoulders. So I just wanted to point out, I just stumbled across this, that the Cleveland Indians are playing right now, and they're ahead of the White Sox. Wouldn't that be funny? The White Sox have been beating everybody. And the Indians in the first inning, another home run. My goodness. A 3-run blast by Ramirez. Ramirez is on a fucking tear right now. That's his 16th dinger. But it's like, I want to say his 8th in the last, 5 games. It's crazy. He's just gone through the roof. So we're facing some pitcher named Dunning, and Savale is, struggling, controlling the ball. He's walked 3 men, which is not typical of Savale, but he may be running up against an innings restriction. You never know. So that's what I know.
For anyone
Brian?
who's driven around Chicago on the Dan Ryan Expressway, there's a guy on a fucking horse riding down the 6-lane highway.
Sheesh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the Cardinals do look good, and it's amazing if you click. Today's game is different. You have a mobile quarterback, and it makes a huge difference. This is a model that people are going to be moving toward. And it makes you wonder. We've got a guy who can roll out and pass, but he's not a threat athletically. And you're seeing so many more athletic quarterbacks in the league. It's really very difficult. Tony's pointing out that the Raiders are playing the Saints tonight. I'm not sure that I'm even going to waste my time with that. Enough football. I got to save it all for the frustration of the Browns, who, if they lose to the Redskins, I'll be pissed. We have a chance to go 2-1, and that's the best news for the Browns. If we can get up above the 500 mark earlier in the season, we're developing things. Our offensive line is developing. It's, coming together. Our defensive line is just the linebackers and the secondary that are awful, just awful. And our kicking game, which is really sorry. Other than that, we're part of that big middle, and how it goes right now, the next 4 games are going to dictate the Cleveland Browns season. Assuming that they remain relatively healthy. If you win 2, lose 2, and you're 3-3, you're a 500 team. And that's what I would hope for a team that was just having this quick changeover to a whole new scheme. But, if after, 8 weeks, if you're 5-3, that's something. And that's what you want to be shooting for at the halfway mark, just because that vast middle. Anybody can beat anybody in that vast middle on a given day. And we've already played one of our games against the Ravens, and we're not going to win in either of them. But we can beat the Steelers. I really believe we can beat the Steelers one game. I believe that. And there are other teams coming up. I believe that we should be able to beat the Redskins because they're losers. We'll see. God, you stayed the whole time, Rox, and you remain silent?
Well, I did say sheesh to Brian's horse story.
Oh, okay.
See, you're so used to it, it just goes right past you.
So everybody, enjoy your football game tonight. If you're watching, I'm going to be doing something different. But we'll be back again on Friday for the Browns pregame, and we'll be back on the weekend, of course, for the halftime and postgame shows where we do all the analysis. And thanks to everybody for supporting the postgame show. Upwards of 1,500 people watched the halftime and postgame show this past week, and it's nice if we start winning because people will keep the bandwagon rolling, and we'll be excited if our team wins and has a winning record coming out of week 3. It's been a long time since that's been the case, so and no, there you go. You own 2 of my virtual coffee mugs. Good for you. How did you win them? You're not the guy who went down on me. Never mind. I didn't say no. We used to have little contests, and people would come up with answers, and they would get virtual coffee mugs as prizes. And it was one of those things that were exciting. And I can tell you the origin of the virtual coffee mug. Running in a top 40 radio station in Flint, Michigan, every weekend we had contests. And it was really, we were giving away all kinds of shit, video game systems, and hell, we gave a Jeep away. We gave all kinds of shit away, especially during
Brian said Rev Kowalski.
Oh, the Reverend Kowalski?
Yeah.
What about him?
I think that's how he got his mugs. One of them.
Oh, okay. They're virtual. They don't exist, Brian. So the origin of the promotion was that we were so tired of giving away prizes and all these contest pigs, in radio, we used to call them prize pigs. They'd enter every contest just trying to win. They didn't listen to the radio station. They'd enter every radio station.
Oh, he's the Rev Kowalski.
Oh, my God. You're Reverend Kowalski. You're back? Holy shit. You see? Amazing. That's amazing. I remember the Reverend. Holy
yeah, he just happens to have my first name and middle initial. That's scary.
Of course I remember Reverend Kowalski. No, I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it's like, the sparrows coming back to Capistrano and the salmon spawning, Oh, good. This is the best news of all. This is the best news of all. I didn't know, Rev. I didn't know. But that's one bright, shining light in what has been amazing how many people that have worked for me through the years and people I've known who have lost that war. So anybody who wins that war, that is the brightest of all lights. But I'll finish the story and I'll get the hell out of here. We decided to do a promotion which was called the Absolutely Nothing Weekend. And, and we would take like caller number 137 and we would tape them and put them on the air. And we'd say, you're caller 137. And the guy go, what did I win? We go, absolutely nothing. The guy goes, awesome, man. I've been waiting for that. And it was all hype. And it was an absolutely nothing weekend. And so I give away invisible prizes here. Oh my God, Jim Chambers. I can't believe the names now that are coming out of the woodwork. Jim Chambers, I'd forgotten about him. EIEIO, the Eastern Indoor Football League cast of characters. What was the name of Youngstown's team? The Mahoning Valley Hitmen. Is that what they were? The Indoor Football League. God help us. You want to talk about an accident waiting to happen, and it kept happening and happening. I miss you too, Rev, and stick around. At least on Sundays, you got to be part of the festivities, halftime and post-game shows. And now that I know who you are, I'll call you out every time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this edition of Moohead Radio, back again on Friday to talk Browns pregame and predictions. Until next time, hasta la vista, Pastorheads.
Bye.
Well, there's some nostalgia for you, Moo.